Alright, hello and welcome to another Warframe builds video. So, today we're going to talk about Wukong, the Immortal Monkey King. So, Wukong... I've recently changed my opinions about Wukong, because I've been giving Wukong too much credit. But, also, there are good builds for Wukong that are good. They work very well in a pretty large amount of situations. But I think overall as a frame, he's just not got a lot going for him. So, this is the build I use. And you might look at this build and go, what's going on here? What's happening on this build? This build is only for using Defy on Wukong. Although, your 3 is still totally fine and your 1 still knocks down enemies. So, that's kind of whatever. This is just for using Defy. Handspring, getting up faster, basically removes knockdowns from you. Firewalker makes you a lot faster. Thieves' Wit is here for funsies. Natural Talent makes you cast your Defy faster. Rage, Vitality. These are just like... Rage is just a standby in Wukong that you just should be using. And then Prime Continuity to balance out the duration. And Steel Charge because it fits the polarity and it's good for what I use Wukong for. Feel free to change that, of course, or you'll need 2 Forma though if you still want to use Thieves' Wit like I do in this. If you change this to another polarity, because Steel Charge is a little bit more powerful than some other auras. But yeah, there's this, and this is the build that I generally run with Wukong just because it makes you use Defy for a long time, and you can cycle your Defy back into itself, which is really good, and we'll show that off in a moment. But I'd also like to have a warning, which is this configuration. This is a different build that I was messing around with, and I was like, all right, let's put some stuff in here and let's see what would happen if I did this. So if we look at this, this is 0.08 above the minimum energy per second that this can take, and your time invulnerable is 13.2 seconds, which at face value, that's like, wow, 13.2 seconds of invulnerability. That's great. It's actually not. It's actually a downside, and it pronounces the weaknesses of Wukong. Because the weaknesses of Wukong are magnetic procs and energy leech XMI. And the way that you're generally getting energy back the most as Wukong is by taking damage. So the longer you are invulnerable, that's actually a weakness for you. If you have 13 seconds where you're not getting energy from Rage, that's actually a weakness, which I know sounds a little crazy, but is actually, that's what it is. Now, as for the way you use Wukong, so the thing about Wukong is that his passive, increased combo duration, is really good for melee weapons, and melee weapons in general are really good whenever you have a way to engage with your enemies. Turns out, being nearly unkillable with Defy means you can engage with pretty much any enemy you want as long as it's not a nullifier, and even then, kind of just fuck them up. But the unfortunate thing about Wukong is that Cloudwalker is like, it's like whatever. Iron Jab is neat, but not really that useful. And Primal Fury is actually worse post Shadow Debt than just using one of the good melee weapons in the game. Because this isn't affected by Shadow Debt mods, so there's no good reason to use it. Which means that you just go with a different big stick, like War. So using War is, I find, much more effective than using the Iron Staff. And that's kind of all you do here. It's really simple, because you just pop your 2, and then you can't really die. Like, as long as you monitor your 2 and what it's restoring, and then make sure that you're having it restore enough to keep your rage going, I mean, you can just kind of hang out, really. Like, these enemies, like, I have no fear, because fear is unnecessary in this situation. Also, using a weapon with momentum just makes this a little more consistent. You actually don't need to, because Handspring is in this build. Which actually gives you access to like a wider variety of weapons in a lot of cases. Just because Wukong doesn't give a shit. Actually, probably should let them, like, hurt me a little more than this. But yeah, like, you kind of just don't have to give a fuck. Which is, like, nice, but that's kind of all Wukong does. He doesn't really add anything to a team. He doesn't have any buffs or anything like that, and his 4 is not worth using. So, it's kind of blah. The thing, though, is that this does work up to, like any level enemy where your counters aren't present. Then you can just hang out. You can just be around. It's like, sure, whatever. You're level 140, I couldn't really care less. I'm here doing the do. See, my 2 went off. And with this build, I have like 5 seconds of invulnerability or whatnot. Grenades, don't care. Two went off again. Like, it just doesn't matter. I'm just hanging out. And, like, whenever your health gets to the point where it's, like, low enough that you're not really getting a whole lot of energy back, like that, you're like, oh, 1 second. Let me kill this guy. You do have to make sure it's clear, of course. I refreshed my 2. Now whenever they kill me, my health will actually go up. If they kill me, there we go. Or was maybe not the best choice for the 140s. You want more proccing at this stage. Or the anti-scaling with type weapons. Like, you can see, I don't even have to, like, I don't even have to care at all. Not even a little bit. Like, it's just like, I can just mash E and it's fine. And you can use your guns, which makes this, like, slightly more versatile than Valkyr. In terms of, like, tanking and being also able to do other things. Like, not even one single fuck was given that day. Like, if they kill me, it only makes me stronger. Not literally, but it just doesn't matter at all. Ba-boom. But yeah, that's what Wukong does. His Defy is hilariously strong. It's really good in certain boss fights. For example, Keladathame. Very, very useful in Keladethame's fight. But yeah, that's Wukong. Also, it's worth noting, for those of you that follow, like, my full roster reviews, in, like, testing again, of course, for Wukong and, like, playing some more stuff with him, and obviously his disadvantages against Energy Leech, XMI, and stuff like that, I've lowered his grade, but nothing has really changed with him. And it's because, like, I think it's because of Shadow Debt. Like, because of Shadow Debt, regular melee has, like, outdone the Iron Staff, which before this would be really good. And this was quite good for a while. Like, pre-Shadow Debt, this was a good ability, and you kind of wanted to use a lot of your stuff, but melee has shifted. And Wukong doesn't keep up anymore, so he basically only has one ability, so he's a B now. I'll see you guys tomorrow.